سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم وسلم عليه رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. In the 13th juz, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continues the story of Yusuf alayhi salatu wassalam. And after Yusuf alayhi salam is released from prison and given a position within the treasury of the then government, the king then declared to Yusuf alayhi salam that from this day you are for us trustworthy and honest. This is after he interpreted the dream of the king. And so Yusuf alayhi salam said that put me in charge of the country's treasury, i.e. money. Verily I am the prudent and the knowledgeable, i.e. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given me knowledge of who to take wealth from and who to give it to and how to protect the national treasury. And the scholars have construed from this that the principle that although it is disliked to wish for a position, remember this is a hadith, the Prophet ﷺ said, never ask for position. Never ask for position. You know, because often people who ask for position and who are put in position, they are put in challenges, right? And they fail those challenges. So one should never ask for a position. But so although it is disliked for someone to ask for a position, but if there is no one else suitable, and you are the person who has that knowledge or that ability, then it also becomes an obligation upon you that moment to actually take that position up. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us when Sayyidina Yusuf's brothers arrived. These are the same brothers that beat him up and left him for the dead in the well. And they arrived at the court to meet Sayyidina Yusuf alayhi salam, not knowing he was their brother, due to hard times. And they came from Quaran, which was the place that they were from, to seek grain. And Yusuf alayhi salam gave them the grain and told them to bring their other brother next time, or else they will not get any more. So he also had the pouch containing the brothers' money, which they had paid for the grain, and he put that money back into their goods. This was the money of Benjamin, his brother. Okay, and the brothers, next time they came, they brought Benjamin with them, with their father's permission. And remember, Yaqub alayhi salam was very hesitant to let Benjamin go, because the last time he let one of the two brothers that he favored, Yusuf alayhi salam, came, they claimed that he was eaten by a wolf. So now they've come and they said, oh, let us take this other brother. So you can imagine Yaqub alayhi salam at that moment thinking, I remember what he did last time. But they managed to somehow twist his arm, and Yaqub alayhi salam advised them not to all enter through the same door. Instead, enter through separate doors of the courtship, so that it can remain safe from evil eye. And Yusuf alayhi salam's plan for Benjamin was that after Yusuf alayhi salam's brothers had arrived, Yusuf alayhi salam came up with a secret plan to keep his brother back, and had a royal plate put in his brother's things. Then had he announced that one of them had stolen it. And Yusuf alayhi salam's brothers protested, by God, we have not come to create discord or to steal from you. And the courtiers asked them what should be the punishment if it was found in one of their possessions. They said that the thief should be kept back. You can arrest him and do what you want to do with him. Finally, the plate was found in Benjamin's possessions, right? Okay, and therefore Yusuf alayhi salam ended up keeping Benjamin back. Now the brothers go back to Canaan. Now they have to tell Yaqub alayhi salam that, Dad, our brother Yusuf, who you sent with us many years ago, that was killed by a wolf, and then after many years we came back and we said, let us take his other brother Benjamin. We've also lost him as well. And when this happened, Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam, Yaqub alayhi salam, when he was informed about this, he started to reprimand them and saying, again you have been deceived, and this is a great deception. And remember, Yaqub alayhi salam, out of the pangs of missing his son Yusuf alayhi salam, he cried so much that he almost lost the sight in his eyes. He became blind, according to some narrations, right? Okay. And according to the strongest narration, he did become completely blind. And the words of the Quran, they used to say to him, why do you cry so much out of the love of Yusuf alayhi salam? And the famous words of the Surah Yusuf is, I only complain of my worry and grief to Allah. Then Yaqub al-Islam sent the brothers to search for Yusuf and Benjamin and advised them never to despair of Allah's mercy in their pursuit, for only the disbeliever despairs of God's mercy. And then Yusuf al-Islam, after they reached Egypt, Yusuf al-Islam revealed the true situation to their brothers and told them that he was in fact the same brother that they had beaten up. And this was a plan of his in order for him to reveal himself to them. And then he gave him his shirt, and he said, take this shirt and tell my father to rub it on his eyes and bring him with me. Now, he took his shirt, the shirt of who? Yusuf al-Islam. Today we have some misguided brothers who have the belief only Allah can guide you, only Allah can benefit you, no one can benefit you but God. If it was shirk, this is tabarrukat, by the way, right? This is tabarrukat. Just like before Arabia became Saudi Arabia through the help of the British and Lawrence of Arabia, there were tabarrukat of the Prophet ﷺ, which the people used to get benefit from. They used to go, such as the house of Sayyidah Khadija al-Kubra radiallahu ta'ala anha, the place where the Prophet ﷺ. These were all places of benefit and tabarrukat and blessings. And the Muslims, they used to go and get benefit from these places. Now Yaqub al-Islam's eyesight came back because Yusuf al-Islam gave his shirt to his brothers and said, tell father to rub this shirt on his eyes. And when his eyesight is restored, bring him with you. If that is the power of the shirt of the Prophet of Yusuf al-Islam, imagine the power of the things that are connected to the best of the messengers. Right? Something to think about. Then eventually they are all united, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us like this, He re-established His beloved Prophet Yusuf al-Islam, and He united him with his family and restored his rank and respect amongst the hearts of his brothers. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala begins Surah Al-Ra'd. This is a Meccan surah, it's the 96th surah to be revealed. One of its verses mentions Al-Ra'd, and thus it has been named as Al-Ra'd. And the surah mentions the proofs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's oneness and His various attributes. It also mentions the life after death. At the beginning of the surah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us about the signs of intelligence. He tells us that Allah's power and majesty is mentioned in the fact that He keeps the heavens aloft without any supporting pillars, runs the sun and the moon under one system, spread the earth and planted the mountains like anchors, keeps the oceans flowing, maintains the system of the day and the night, the extensive kind of plants that are to be found within the ecosystems, the orchards of grapes and dates, and the arrangement of the universe. It then states that in this are signs for the intelligent. Okay. My own background in university, I studied biology. And when we would come and study different systems, we would study different modules. Okay? It was always fascinating how delicate the balance is and how intricate the balance is. I remember in human physiology, when you first studied the eye, and you studied the rods and the cones in the eye, and how the fact that the eye generates light, and how the image in itself are upside down, but they are flipped over so you can see them, right? And how this actually happens, and it's amazing. And then you understand that such great design must have a designer. It's impossible for this just to happen by chance, right? And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in verse 11 to 13 about the Ra'ad, which is thunder. Ar-Ra'ad means thunder, right? Okay? And it reveals the reasons for nations becoming great, that situations only change when one changes oneself. Again, situations only change when one changes oneself. This is very important, very important. I don't know if, not going off topic a bit, but this is important because sometimes you have to illustrate what Allah is saying in a day-to-day example, okay? When I was young, there used to be a program that used to come on old PTV, Pakistani TV. There used to be a novelist and a writer called Ammar, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and he used to write beautiful books and novels, and he did dramas as well, very Sufi-orientated dramas.
Oh, yeah.
And he speaks about the fact that people are often shackled by their thoughts. So they asked him, "What do you mean?" He said, "When I was young, in my village, there used to be a circus, and in the circus there was once a massive elephant." And he says, and I ran out of my excitement at the front of the crowd to see the elephant, because I hadn't seen an elephant before. And then I saw that the elephant got up, right? The legs of the elephant had a rope around them, and the rope was tied to a little picket which was banged into the floor. And as the elephant got up, he said, I became scared, so I ran all the way at the back towards my father. My father said, why have you come back? And he said, I said to my dad, that father, the elephant is very big and he's very powerful. And the only thing holding him is the rope. And the rope is attached to the picket, which is thrusted into the ground. And I don't think it's thrusted deep enough to hold the picket into the ground and therefore hold the elephant. And he said, my father said that no, you see, you are seeing the rope. It's not the rope that is holding the elephant down. It is the concept of the fact that the elephant thinks the rope is powerful enough to hold him down.
Okay.
Often in life, you think you can't change because, oh, it's too much. You can't become a religious person. You can't start praying 5 times a day because, oh, it's such a, how am I going to do that? 5 times a day? I struggle to pray 5 times in a year. You know, how am I going to pray 5 times a day? Going to the mosque, praying in Jama'ah, oh my days, how am I going to fit that in with work? I go to gym, college, football, university, whatever. How am I going to be able to do this? Ultimately, you're shackled by your thought. Wallahi, you're shackled by your thought, right? Okay. People who want to get stuff done, they make a start. They trust Allah, they make a start. Your competition isn't against someone else. For example, you see someone, he reads Quran very quickly. MashaAllah, he reads beautifully. His sifat and makharij and tajweed is excellent, and his tartil is amazing, and he's blessed with a good voice. Then there's you. You struggle, and you think, okay, and you see this person reading Quran fluently, and you think to yourself, I'm never going to be as good as them. Your aim is not to be competing against them. Your aim is to compete against yourself. Look at yourself, and again, I'll keep talking about this, the 1 degree rule. Try and improve a little. So for example, if Surah Yasin, for example, takes you 25 minutes to read, okay, right, which is a long time for that surah, okay, don't think to yourself, oh, this person reads it in 5 minutes, I read it in 25. If you continue to read it consistently, that 25 will eventually become 22. 22 will eventually become 20. Eventually, you'll cut it down, maybe not to 5 minutes, but maybe to 8 minutes, to 9 minutes. Because you made a start, you made an improvement. If you don't make a start, you won't have an improvement. And Allah won't change the situation. And wallahi, if you make a start to change yourself for the better, Allah will create ease in it for you. Allah will put barakah in it for you. You will achieve the things that you don't think you're able to achieve. But if you don't make a start, and this is not just religious, this is whether it's in school, whether it's in gym, whether it's with your personal situations, your family relationships, your relationships with your friends, anything. If you don't make a start, Allah's not going to change it. Doesn't matter how many du'as you want to make, right? It doesn't matter how many du'as you want to make. You know, there's a famous muhavra in Urdu. Yeah, कि बंदे ने सवाल किया मेरे मौला मेरा हाल देख रब से आई आवाज मेरे बंदे अपने अमाल देख. Right? Then, you know, often you say, oh Allah, look at me, but what are you doing? What are you doing to change the situation? Where is the action? Right? Remember, this deen is a deen of action. It's not a deen of words. It's not a deen of words. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us straight away that verily He responds to your call. Verily Allah responds to your call. Verily, there is a narration about a man who worshipped an idol for 80 years. The word for idol in Arabic is sanam. Sanam. Right? Okay? So he would say, Ya sanam, Ya sanam, Ya sanam. And one day his tongue slipped and he said, Ya samad. And he heard a voice, Labbaik ya abdi. I am present, my slave. At this moment he became shocked and he said, Ya Rabb, for 80 years I called upon this idol and he never once answered. And once by mistake I called upon my Rabb and I heard him answer. Allah will always answer to your call. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us that the beneficial things remain. In life, my brothers, remember, great societies were established by people who planted trees with the knowledge of the fact that they will not live to be under the shade of the very trees that they are planting. I repeat that again. Great societies were built by men who planted seeds for trees to grow, knowing very well that they will not live under the shade of those very trees. Today we do things just remotely for our benefit. Plant seeds. Maybe you won't benefit from the shade and the fruits of those trees, but the coming generations will. This is what our fathers did when they built the masajids and the madaris in this country. right? Many of them didn't benefit, right? Okay, your father didn't study Sarf and Nahaf, neither did mine, right? But they donated towards the masajid that teach Sarf and Nahaf, right? That taught the ulum of the deen, that taught Qaduri, that taught Shar Mata'amil, right? Because they knew that, okay, we are not in a situation today that we can benefit from this because we have families to feed, we have houses to build, right? We have come here as migrants to feed ourselves and feed our families. But our children, inshallah, we will create for them a system that our children will benefit from this. And that is the thought of great people. That's how great communities and societies are built. Then Allah tells us about the signs of the rejectors. And one of the signs is the fact that they break promises. Also, they break off the blood relationships. This is what the Prophet ﷺ said to us: keep promises and keep the ties of relationships. And they spread fasad in the earth. Then Allah tells us in verse 26, very important, what brings contentment to your heart? Zikr of Allah brings contentment to your heart. Zikr of Allah. This is very important. If you look at Ramadan, what is Ramadan? Is Ramadan a time to memorize asbaq? You can say so, but really it's not. Right? This is what all the shuyukh, what do? They don't teach in Ramadan. Right? Okay? My teacher, Mufti Abdul Kareem, Jamaati Sahib Rahmatullahi Ta'ala alayhi, I used to beg him to do me extra lessons in Ramadan. And he used to say, no, read Quran. And this, the beauty of Ramadan, look, we read the 16th Tarawih today, right? Yes. Okay? 16 times 20, 320 rak'ah. So far you have prayed, for those of you who have come for every Tarawih, you have prayed 320 extra rak'ahs. If I said to you, right, outside of Ramadan, you got 16 days, pray 320 rak'ah nafal, you wouldn't be able to do it. None of us would be. Yes. We would come out with excuses: I got busy, I got late, I had to finish this work, I had to do that, I had to do this, I had to do that. But look at that barakah of Ramadan. Allah gives you tawfiq. Allah gives you tawfiq. Why? Again, because this deen, my brothers, it's a deen of actions. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us that Allah can do anything that He wants. All the things such as the mountains, to rip open the earth and make the dead talk, and all these miracles are within Allah's power, and Allah is ala kulli shay'in qadir. And verse 38 of Surah Ar-Ra'd states that we sent messengers before you, and they had wives and also children. It then states that the prophets do not produce miracles on the request of the disbelievers, rather they do so on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's permission. Then Surah Ibrahim begins. This is a Meccan surah, and it's the 72nd surah to be revealed, and the 6th ruku of this surah mentions Ibrahim alayhi salam. Thus it is named after the Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam. From tomorrow, inshallah, we will continue with the khulasa of the 13 juz of the Quran with Surah Ibrahim. We will cover Surah Ibrahim and then begin Surah Al-Hijr. May Allah give us the ability to sit in these gatherings and to benefit from the summary of the Quran. وَمَا عَلَيْنَا إِلَّا الْبَلَاغُ وَآخِرُ دَعْوَانَا أَنِ الْحَمْدُ لِلَّهِ رَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ.